It's April 16th and we're finally back in the garden planting some of the first plants that we'll be planting all of 2025. I'm going to start today's video as kind of like a tour. We're going to do a little unboxing through Prairie Moon Nursery. And yeah, I'll just like show you guys kind of what's all blooming in my gardens. So today I'm using photos from Prairie Moon Nursery. This is the Meadow Blazing Star Liatris. And these photos are taken by Prairie Moon, and they do such a good job that I had to make sure that I put credit in there for those. These are prairie blue-eyed grass. Super cute. I've seen them in only one other garden so far. This is early Medow Rue. I really like the packaging that kind of has that description of how to plant them, how deep to plant them, how the roots should look in the ground. This is a button blazing star Liatris, so that one's an experiment for me this year. This is a May apple, and you can sometimes see them in woodsy kind of settings that aren't like infested with invasive things like buckthorn. This is a stout blue-eyed grass. A little bit different than the other blue-eyed grass, so I figured I'd plant both of them just to see how they kind of grow in my gardens. And then they also have a how-to kind of guide on how to plant these things, which is really helpful for the new gardener. This is where I'm going to be planting most of my shade or partial shade garden. I also have like things like, I believe these are ramps that I planted last year. And then in this little area, there's these kind of like fuzzy, white, silvery kind of looking things on the end of those rhizomes. Those are American wild ginger, and I just think they're the coolest plant. There's a little purple thing. I don't remember what that is. It's too young for me to identify right now. Probably a goldenrod if I had to guess. There's another thing. I have no idea what I planted, but as it gets older, I'll be able to identify it. That's a violet of some sort. I have several different colors now. And this is either an aster or a goldenrod. And that little one, okay, this tall one is white snake root, and the little one is phlox. And this is where I'm going to put the May apple and the other one. We'll come back to it. The Meadow Rue. But first, I have to show you guys my apricot trees. They're blooming. This is the second year that they've bloomed. Last year I didn't get any fruit from them, but this year I'm hoping to get some fruit because I did see some little pollinators. But oh my god, they smell so good. And so, yeah, I just had to like show them off a little bit. Of course they're blurry, but you know, I'll find an angle, I promise. There's one of the pollinators. So these guys are, I always refer to them as a hoverfly, and they look like a bee or a wasp or something. They kind of like developed this pattern on themselves as a way to like scare off predators, because maybe the predator will think that, oh hey, this is something that'll sting me, so I don't want to eat that. But that is what a hoverfly looks like. It looks like a little bee or a wasp, and they help pollinate flowers when the bees are not quite ready to come out of their sleeping of the winter yet. And here's another variety. I think this is a different variety than the first one. It's obviously darker, has a different pattern on the abdomen, and I don't know what they are. I just don't. Or at least I don't know their scientific name anyway. But how cool! Thanks for pollinating my trees, little guys. Really appreciate you. Alright, so This first one is the May apple, and you'll notice the root system on this one right away. It's really cool. It kind of grows in a horizontal manner under the ground. So, yeah, I just thought it was fascinating. Look at that root, kind of. And yeah, that guy doesn't want to be buried too deep, so we make sure that he stays horizontal. And just level out the soil. And then here's a better angle of the Meadow Rue. And I'm just going to remove the grass, kind of loosen up the soil as I do that, just so then it's, you know, oh, that was a worm. I had to show the camera, but it didn't pick up. And yeah, so you'll want to make sure that you just plant them, kind of follow that indicator on the package. This guy, I'm going to mound the soil around him a little bit so then he doesn't burn in the sun, because that very pale exterior of him at the moment is just because he hasn't been exposed to sunlight, so we're just going to cover him up a little bit so then as he comes out of the soil he'll get that sunlight on him. And right here is my bloodroot. I think these are the coolest spring flowers. They get their name because if you break the root, then this kind of red dye bleeds out of it, so it gets its name from that, bloodroot. And the bumblebees are supposed to really, really like them, but I don't have enough of them yet for bees to actually know that they're here, so hopefully in the future I can divide this guy into more little pieces. This is another one of those, a goldenrod, but this is a shade-tolerant goldenrod. I think it's a zigzag, and it is among my hostas because it only gets like that tall. And it has a really fun little yellow, and yellow flowers in the shade I just think are really fun. And these little guys are ramps. This is that like wild garlic thing that people keep looking for in the woods. I figured I might as well just have them in my garden instead of going out into the woods and trying to like harvest them. So Prairie Moon sells them as well. This is the Cutleaf coneflower, and they get about 5 feet tall, and so another yellow in the shade. Really pretty plant. This is one of my apple trees. These are the blooms before they're blooms. These are the buds. And like they have more of a swelled up kind of look to them compared to what a leaf stem is going to look like. Here's another angle of it. So you can see inside there's little tiny flower buds that are going to flower here in the next couple weeks. And here you can see the difference between, like this one here is a flowering and this one here is just a leaf. So that's how I identify those when I'm pruning. And this is a pear, and so that one has a little bit different look to it than what the apple does, obviously. And I love them, so I have lots of pear trees. And yeah, I need to do a little bit of work with the branches, but yeah, this is my pear orchard. And then in these little areas, I'm going to be planting a lot more of my wildflowers this year. And right here is what I have heard pronounced as Pasqueflower. The state flower of South Dakota. And then in this garden, I have Prairie Smoke flower. Like I said earlier, these are for early emerging queen bumblebees and those kind of pollinators, but because I only have one, the bees just don't know that it's here yet. So hopefully in the future I can divide them and have more of these guys in my gardens. So we'll start here with the prairie blue-eyed grass, and yeah, I plant this one a little deep right away before I recognize that, oh, you planted it too deep, you silly goof. But these are, look at all those roots. They're so healthy. So I want to spread them around, make sure that they aren't like wrapped around each other and then end up just choking the plant. And there I did bury it too deep, and then I covered it just to make sure that it didn't get sunburned, as it was really hot that day. And then this is, it looks like a little dirt heart, but it is the button Liatris. And so I think those will pair really nicely together. And I'm using old, like dead branches from the trees to mark these guys, just to make it look a little nicer in my gardens. And so then I can identify where they are while I'm mulching. This is the 6 Meadow blazing stars. I'll talk a little bit about Prairie Moon Nursery. That is where I got all of these roots from. The images that I used in the very beginning are copyright, so I emailed them to confirm, hey, can I use these in my video? And they said, as long as your video is educational and you don't make money off of it, that would be great. So I am making sure that this stays educational. My cousin said this was a mole trench, and so yeah, don't want to fall in there. This one is the Stout blue-eyed grass, and yeah, a little bit different structure than the other one, which was really cool to notice. And I bury him really deep, and then I'm like, wait a second, that looks way too deep. So I do pull him out of the ground there, so then his roots are covered, but his upper part is not covered.
Mingo, what you doing? What you doing, pretty girl? You're so silly. You're so silly. What you doing? You're so good.
Jesus, sweetie. Oh, and then I forgot that I also, in that same bag with all of those, I got my Steeple Bush. Another photo from Prairie Moon. And that's that little like notch at the bottom with the little green part. That's all the further I'm going to bury this plant, because I don't want it to suffocate underground there. And so I got my hole prepared, and then I am just kind of like identifying where the roots have to be moved and if I have to do anything different with the soil. And just like that, you just move the roots away from each other, and it's ready to plant. And then here, as you can see, that's that notch with the little green mark that, yeah, I just don't want that to be buried any deeper than what it is. And I watered everything, but I also planted these guys a day before it was gonna rain, and then we got an inch of rain, so they're They're out there very happy right now. Oh, and here I'm just checking for like air bubbles, and I do pack the dirt in a little bit more around it, just so then it doesn't like dry out too quickly. But I don't want to pack too hard because now it's mud, and then if I was to pack it too hard, it would just turn into cement. So I put fresh dirt on top of it, and that should be good. And then this one is Bladder nut. And so this tree is only going to get about 20 feet tall, so I'm going to have it replace this ash tree, which most of the ash trees in my yard are dead or dying from the ash borer. And so you can see there it was a little green, so it's alive. But look at this root! Oh my god! He's so healthy! I'm very pleased. And again, I check to make sure that just the roots are covered. I don't want it to be buried in there too deep. Otherwise it'll start to drown and suffocate. So I put that tile around so then I don't run it over with anything or it doesn't get mowed over. These are called Hepatica. And I think they are the cutest little things in the whole world. The leaf that you're seeing right now stays green over winter and then puts energy into the plant so then it can produce these flowers here in the spring. And then after the flowers kind of go away, then that little bit at the bottom is going to turn into this year's leaf. But super cute. Super duper cute. I love them. Oh, and I forgot to identify this one, but I think this might be invasive, so I'll eventually have to remove it. But that's all that I have for you guys today. I hope you learned something. Let me know if you enjoy this garden tour style vlog, and I'll keep doing them. And I have all the information about today's plants and Prairie Moon Nursery in the description below, so go ahead and check those out. Give the video a thumbs up, and thanks so much. Bye!